I wanted to take a few minutes and first of all say thank you very much from Protect the Harvest. My name is Eric Whitley. I'm a volunteer for Protect the Harvest. I live here in Utah. I was the first volunteer for Protect the Harvest about 5 years ago. So it's been an incredible run. You know, I'm going to tell a story in front of the great Waddy Mitchell. I feel so, you know, blessed to be able to tell a little story here, if that's all right. So, my wife and I moved to Utah in 1992, and I bought a house. And on the east side of my house, I have a row of ponderosa pines that run along the east side of the house. Well, one of those pines somewhere, when it was planted and grew about halfway, it died. And so the person that lived there before I did, what they did was they just cut it to the stump, right? Well, I moved in and I began to take care of the yard. And so for 12 years, I trimmed around that stump, and I mowed and maneuvered the lawnmower around that stump, and I knocked my knee on that stump, and just a ton of stuff for 12 years. One day I got pissed off and I said, it's time for this stump to come out of the ground. So I went and got my truck, and I went into the shed and I got some chains, and I got my shovel and I got the pick. I backed my truck up to the lawn and I got ready to go take out the stump. And I walked over that stump with my shovel, and I put my shovel on the ground, I put my boot up on that shovel, and I shoved that shovel into the ground. And that stump moved when I put the stump in the ground, when I put that shovel in the ground. And I reached up and I kicked that stump. And about 2 kicks, that stump came out of the ground. And for 12 years, I had been mowing around that SOB and trimming around that SOB, and it took me about 2 kicks to get it out of the ground, right? So let me tell you a story, another story. 2010 in Missouri, main state of the United States, sponsored a bill to put some serious restrictions, if not try to get rid of, dog breeding in the state of Missouri. And they pissed off the wrong guy. And Forrest Lucas stepped up and donated some money. Now, the vote for the bill, we lost. But the subsequent year, the legislature went in and gutted the bill, basically taking everything away. But I tell you that because when we think about HSUS and we think about what I like to call the kind of unholy alliance of the animal rights groups, the radical environmentalists, and the corrupt politicians, right? We have what we see today. Well, guess what? We put the shovel in the ground in Missouri, and we shoved that shovel in the ground, and it moved. They moved, and we beat them. And then we went on to North Dakota, and we beat them in North Dakota. And then Missouri passed the right to farm, and now Oklahoma has put on its ballot for this year measure, I think it's 777, isn't it, Brian? And we're going to win that too. And what that measure says is that the state of Oklahoma can pass no law that impedes with a farmer or a rancher's ability to do their job that doesn't benefit the state of Oklahoma. What that means is outside people can't come in and change the law just to hurt farming and ranching. Folks, we are on the offense. We are done being on the defense. Done. We're on the offense. And I tell you that because I'm the most unique person standing in this room. Bet you didn't know that, did you? I don't own a farm. I don't own a cow. I don't own a ranch. I've never lived on a ranch. I've never roped a calf. I've never sheared a sheep. Heck, I grew up in Los Angeles, California. I'm a director at a software company, is what I do. but I know what's right and what's wrong. And I love drag racing. And I'm sitting on the couch on a Sunday night in my comfy shorts watching drag racing. And through the water to do its burnout comes a top fuel dragster. If you don't know what top fuel dragster is, you need to learn what it is. And on the side of that top fuel dragster was that logo right there. And the announcer, Alan Reinhart, he said, something about, these guys help stand up for farmers and stand up for outdoorsmen and hunters and fishermen. All right, I'll play. So I grabbed my laptop, opened up my laptop, and typed in protecttheharvest.com. Read through it. This is something I could get behind. A few weeks later, I had a client down in Dallas, and the drag races happened to be down in Dallas. So I was walking around the pits, and I walked up to the pit where the car was, and I asked one of the crew members, I said, hey, can you tell me anything about this Protect the Harvest? And he said, I don't know much about it. It's brand new. You need to go talk to that lady over there. And so I went over there and talked to Betty Doak. Betty Doak was sitting out here yesterday. You probably all saw Betty. So me and Betty were sitting there talking about Protect the Harvest. She was telling me what Protect the Harvest is. And I said, well, I've been thinking about like starting a Pheasants Forever or Ducks Unlimited chapter in my hometown. I said, but tell me, what do you guys do for volunteers? She says, we don't have any volunteers. I said, I'm your first one. And 5 years later, here we are, right? I didn't know nothing about ranching. I didn't know nothing about farming. I didn't care. So all your concerns that you've had this week about how do we do this and how do we get the message out, it's getting out. I'm living proof that the message is getting out. Okay? Guess what? I'm a pretty outgoing guy. I have 800 friends on Facebook, if you will. I post like mad on Facebook about Protect the Harvest. And only about 0.5% of people that I know are farmers and ranchers. The rest of them are just like me. And believe me, they know what I stand for now. And they get educated on a regular basis. Okay? So, what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to leave here thinking nothing's happening. Because it is happening. Because every time we stick the shovel in the ground, the stump moves. We beat them every single time we face them. Brian can talk to you about the Massachusetts lawsuit that we just filed. We're going to beat them there. You know why? Because just like that stump that moved in my front yard, the roots of their movement and what they do is rotten. And it will rot away before our eyes if we just have the courage to put our heel on it and kick it every once in a while. It'll move, guaranteed. Okay? We're doing it. Please, go to Facebook, look for us on there, Protect the Harvest, like our page. Go sign up for our newsletters. Go look at the Twitter accounts. Go to my Twitter account, UtahPTH. Go find me on Facebook. What can you do to help when you get the word out? I can't tell you how many people I saw this weekend says, I've never heard of Protect the Harvest before. Well, you have now, and it's your responsibility to help educate people. That's what we do, is we're educating the American public that the roots of what's going on in this country right now is rotten. And the tree is sick, but we can fix it, right? Thank you very much.